فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة صلوات اللهم صل. اس کے ساتھ ہی میں دعوت دینا چاہوں گا ہمارے ننھے ذاکرین میں سے سب سے پہلے میں محمد علی رضا اور علی شان کو کہ وہ تشریف لائیں اور آج کی اس مجلس میں اپنا انتخاب پیش کریں. ان ننھے ذاکرین کی حوصلہ افزائی کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات. اللہم صلی
صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بی بی اے میری بی بی تیرے در پہ استغاثہ ہے تیرا ممنون میری شہزادی یہ جہاں سارا ہے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا تو ہمیں حفظ اور امان دے دے اپنی چادر کا سائبہ دے دے. تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بیوی تو جسے چاہے دو جہاں دے دے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بی بی اے میری بی بی آنسو نے دعا مانگی ہے تیری تسبیح پر کے دل نے تجھے پکارا ہے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا قرض مقروض کا ادا کر دے مفلسوں کا نصیب وا کر دے. جن کی گودی بھری نہیں بی بی ان کو اولاد تو عطا کر دے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا فرش مجلس پہ اور مصلی پر ہر جوان کہہ رہا ہے رو رو کر ہم رہے نہ رہے مگر بی بی تا قیامت رہے غم سرور. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. ماشاءاللہ محمد علی رضا اور علی شان مولا آپ کی توفیقات میں اضافہ فرمائے. اس کے ساتھ ہی میں دعوت دوں گا ایان کو اور ان کے چھوٹے بھائی کو کہ وہ بھی تشریف لائیں اور اپنا انتخاب پیش کریں. ان ننھے ذاکرین کی صحت و سلامتی کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات.
وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے پھوپھیاں تے ماواں دے برکے جو دلوں کا للہائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے خون دے اتھرو سجاد دی اکھیاں چوں ہوئی پہلی دفعہ جاری جدو زینب دے سر دی چادر نوش میل نے ہاتھ سلائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے ڈگ پئی زینب تر دے ہوئے نا کے تو تک بازوں غازی دے بجیاں ہے باوالر کی وے انہاں کے تو بازو اچائے وے غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے موت تے اکبر بازار گزر دے ہی سجاد نو گئی سی پرندیاں ساوانے مکن وچ 40 سال لائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے پھوپھیاں تے ماواں دے برکے جدو لوکاں لہائے وین غربت دے مولا سجاد نے پائے صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. ماشاءاللہ ایان مولا آپ کی توفیقات میں اضافہ فرمائے. اس کے ساتھ ہی میں دعوت دینا چاہوں گا ہمارے برادر حسن کو کہ وہ تشریف لائیں اور آج کی اس مجلس میں اپنا انتخاب پیش کریں. برادر حسن کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات. بارے دیگر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
نعرہ تکبیر رسالت کل ایمان نعرہ حیدری حیدری پر محمد وآل محمد بلند تر صلوات. منتظر منتظر ہر گھڑی ہے یہاں فاطمہ کے مخالف مٹا پاروے مسجدوں میں علی کی اذانیں سنے ہم کو اکبر کا لہجہ سنا پاروے تیرے بن یہ موالی تو مسکین ہے چور باغے فدق کے بھی 2-3 ہیں میرے مہربان میرے مہربان میرے مہربانی تیری قبر سے کھینچ کر ان کا عبرت بری دے سزا پاروے منتظر منتظر ہر گھڑی ہے یہاں فاطمہ کے مخالف مٹا پاروے ماتمی کے خوابوں کی تعبیر ہو، صحن کعبہ میں بھی ذکر شبیر ہو، نسل شیطان ماں شرم جلتی رہے، نعرے حیدری یوں لگا باروے، منتظر ہر گھڑی ہے یہاں، فاطمہ کے مخالف مٹا پاروے، بلند صلوات۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآلہ۔ جزاک اللہ برادر حسن، مولا آپ کی توفیقات میں اضافہ فرمائے اور اسی طرح آپ پڑھتے رہیں اور یہ سلسلہ جاری رہے۔ اس کے ساتھ ہی میں دعوت دینا چاہوں گا باقر حسن اور علی کو کہ وہ تشریف لائیں اور آج کے اس مجلس میں اپنا انتخاب پیش کریں۔ تمام حاضرین کی صحت و سلامتی کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات۔
ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا، ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا، ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا، ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا، پترا دیا لاشا دے ٹکڑے، رہیاں لب دیا وچ سہراواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، صبر دے مالک نو سین لیلا کے، اذن جے دے تے میں صبر دی سانج چ اکبر دے سینے چو سانگ ہٹاواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، آکھے ماں قاسم دی ماں تے احسان کریں، دیر تائیں لڑدا رویں، تیرے ٹکڑے مطابق ودھنیاں نے میرے ویر حسین دی ساواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، جدو قیدی ہو کے لنگیا مقتل چوں، وین زینب کیتا لاشا ول ماواں نہ ویکھن، کتھے رکھ نہ جاون ساواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، سانگ تے اصغر دے ویخ کے آکھے رباب جے نہ قیدی ہواں، سر سانگ تے تیرا لاون لئی میں دیر کدی نہ لاواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں، شمر دے خنجر دے وار زہرا روکے، نال حسین کوے میں چکیاں پیس کے ریاسی، کیویں ہاتھ گردن تو چاواں ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں ماواں کربلا دیا ماواں بر محمد والے محمد صلوات
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. ماشاءاللہ ننھے ذاکرین مولا آپ کی توفیقات میں اضافہ فرمائے. اس کے ساتھ ہی میں دعوت دینا چاہوں گا نہال بھائی کو کہ وہ تشریف لائیں اور اپنا انتخاب پیش کریں. تمام حاضرین کی صحت و سلامتی کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. بار دیگر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. بار دیگر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. شاہ والا کے ہوئے جس گھڑی نہر پہ خیمے شاہ والا کے ہوئے اور ستمگار مزاجم لب دریا کے ہوئے شاہ برہم پہ جفاکاروں سے فرما کے ہوئے دشمن جاں میرے گھر سے مجھے بلوا کے ہوئے دشمن میرے گھر سے مجھے بلوا کے ہوئے تم پیو پانے محمد کا نواسا مر جائے تم ہی منصف ہو جو مہماں ہو وہ پیاسا مر جائے تم ہی منصف ہو جو مہماں ہو وہ پیاسا مر جائے. میں نہ آتا تھا مدینے سے بلایا تم نے روضہ احمد مرسل کو چھڑایا تم نے کوہ صحرا بھی یہ دریا بھی دکھایا تم نے حیف ہے تاریک دنیا کو ستایا تم نے حیف ہے تاریک دنیا کو ستایا تم نے رخ ادھر کو جو کیا میں نے تو تم موڑتے ہو ایک دغا پیش کے وعدے پہ مجھے چھوڑتے ہو ایک دغا پیشہ کے وعدے پہ مجھے چھوڑتے ہو شاہ سے تب بدرشتی یہ لعینوں نے کہا مہلت ایک شب کی بھلا دینے میں نقصان تھا کیا پر ہمیں حکم ہے دریا سے اٹھا دینے کا جو کہ فرمائے گا حاکم اسے لائیں گے بجا جو کہ فرمائے گا حاکم اسے لائیں گے بجا جلد سامان کرو خیموں کے اٹھوانے کا آپ کا عذر کوئی پیش نہیں جانے کا آپ کا عذر کوئی پیش نہیں جانے کا آب دیدہ ہو لعینوں سے یہ بولے شبیر آ چکے اب تو دکھائے ہمیں جو کچھ تقدیر کھائیں گے شوق سے تیغ و تبر و خنجر و تیر پر خدا اس کا ہے شاہد کہ میں ہوں بے تقصیر پر خدا اس کا ہے شاہد کہ میں ہوں بے تقصیر نہر سے گرمی کے موسم میں اٹھاتے ہو مجھے کیا ملے گا تمہیں ناحق جو ستاتے ہو مجھے کیا ملے گا تمہیں ناحق جو ستاتے ہو مجھے شاہ سے تب بدرشتی یہ لعینوں نے کہا مہلت ایک شب کی بھلا دینے میں نقصان تھا کیا پر ہمیں حکم ہے دریا سے اٹھا دینے کا جو کہ فرمائے گا حاکم اسے لائیں گے بجا، جو کہ فرمائے گا حاکم اسے لائیں گے بجا، جلد سامانے کرو خیموں کے اٹھوانے کا، آپ کا عذر کوئی پیش نہیں جانے کا، آپ کا عذر کوئی پیش نہیں جانے کا، آپ دیدہ ہو لعینوں سے یہ بولے شبیر، آ چکے اب تو دکھائے ہمیں کچھ دو تقدیر، کھائیں گے شوق سے تیغ و تبر و خنجر و تیر، پر خدا اس کا ہے شاہد کہ میں ہوں بے تقصیر، پر خدا اس کا ہے شاہد کہ میں ہوں بے تقصیر، نہر سے گرمی کے موسم میں اٹھاتے ہو مجھے، کیا ملے گا تمہیں نہ جو ستاتے ہو مجھے، کیا ملے گا تمہیں نہ جو ستاتے ہو مجھے، جس گھڑی نہر پہ بر محمد والے محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد والے محمد، بار دیگر صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد والے محمد۔ دریا پہ رو چکے عباس کو حسین جو، دریا پہ رو چکے بھائی سے اپنے ہاتھ لب نہر دھو چکے، یہاں تک کہ قتل اکبر و اصغر بھی ہو چکے، سینے پہ جو پلے تھے وہ مٹی میں سو چکے، سینے پہ جو پلے تھے وہ مٹی میں سو چکے، تھے نوحہ گھرارے کے تلے پاش پاش پہ، قاسم کی لاش پر کبھی اصغر کی لاش پہ، قاسم کی لاش پر کبھی اصغر کی لاش پہ، لشکر میں تھا یہ غل کے دلاور کو مار لو، ہاں شہ سوار دوشے پیمبر کو مار لو، سید کو بے کو مستر کو مار لو، سب مر چکے ہیں اب شاہ صفدر کو مار لو، سب مر چکے ہیں اب شب صفدر کو مار لو، قبضے میں تیغ جرم بے تیر جفا بھی ہے، کہتے ہیں شے بتاؤ میری کچھ خطا بھی ہے، کہتے ہیں شے بتاؤ میری کچھ خطا بھی ہے، رحم کرو میں بے قصو تنہا ہوں ظالموں، گزرے ہیں 3 روز کے پیاسا ہوں ظالموں، سید اور امام تمہارا ہوں ظالموں، سوچو ذرا میں کس کا نواسا ہوں ظالموں، سوچو ذرا میں کس کا نواسا ہوں ظالموں، ہوگا بھلا نہ صابر و شاکر کو مار کے، پچھتاؤ گے غریب مسافر کو مار کے، پچھتاؤ گے غریب مسافر کو مار کے، عباس کو حسین
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah Nihal bhai. Mola aapki tawfiqat mein izafa farmaye. With this, I would like to request Brother Zuryaab to come and deliver his lecture in English. For Brother Zuryaab, please recite a loud salawat.
बार दिगा सलावत أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الحسين مصباح الهدى والسفينة النجاة. We once more thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His infinite mercy, His blessing in allowing us to hold this Majlis Yaza, for Imam Hussein alayhi Islam, his women, his children, his family. And we extend our condolences to the mu'mineen mu'minat here today on these sad, tragic ayam. And we also extend our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Zamana, on this tragic occasion. I've had the honor over the past few nights of trying to build our understanding, our reasoning, so we can look into this hadith, Inna al-Husaynu misbahul huda wa safinatul najat, and what the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his holy family, was trying to achieve when he said this. As we've mentioned before, one or the either of these two, you could say, split this statement into two, one or the other half could be used. Rasulullah mentioned both together for a reason. And inshallah today and in the nights to come, we're going to first build our basis in order to understand this further. Because there were many there on the day of Ashura against Imam Hussein. They could see him, but then not see him at the same time. They saw him with their physical eyes, but they really did not see him as the Imam, as the Prophet's true grandson, which is why they fought him. And why was this the sabab? Not only the bughz of Imam Ali, when Imam Hussein asked them, why do you want to kill me? They replied back, because of the hatred we have for your father, Ali. He's killed our forefathers in battle, our brothers, our cousins, our sons. And Imam Hussein answered this question. He said, I know why you can't understand me. Because there's haram in your stomachs. As in, the food you've eaten may not be haram physically, but the wealth you've used, the spiritual effect of that food is that you can't really see me or understand me. So in order to understand hadiths like this, that Hussein is the lamp of guidance and the ship of salvation, let's try build up our spiritual insight first. Me, myself, first and foremost. And we looked at the 4 types of the soul. And I say types as in all 4 of these make up your soul. Just like, for example, earth is made of water, land, there's also a bit of fire, there's wind. These 4 are the components of you. So it's important we know more about ourselves before we learn about Imam Hussein. The beauty of Imam Hussein is this. This is what he wanted. And this is how you know he won the war. You come to the Majlis of Imam Hussein, it's an open invitation. You could be a Hindu, an atheist, a non-Muslim, a non-Shia. You're more than welcome. Not only here, not only in Karbala. In Karbala, you've seen how many Hindus, Buddhists, non-Muslims visit there. It's open to everyone. Why? Because Hussein is for all. Secondly, if you noticed, we come here for the zikr of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but we end up learning more about ourselves than Imam Hussein. As in to say, the 4 components of the soul and the commentary we looked at very briefly yesterday of Dua Arafah of Imam Hussein, we're learning more about whom? Imam Hussein, yes. But the beauty is this, when you learn towards, or you come towards Hussein, he also helps you understand yourself. And why is this important? Imam Ali alayhi salam said, Man arafa nafsa, faqad arafa rabba. Not, Man arafa rabba, faqad arafa nafsa. Logically, that would be the case, isn't it? God is one, there's 5 Ahlul Bayts, there's 14 Ma'sumin, there's 124,000 prophets. La ilaha illallah first. No. Imam Ali says, know yourself, then you'll know your Lord. This university of Imam Hussein, where you don't need applications. You go to any school, any college, you need to fill out the form, you need to register. Have you done the BA to get onto the MA? Have you done the MA to get onto the PhD? No. Here, it's open for all. Because Imam Hussein alayhi salam is for all. And he holds each and every one of you, I've mentioned this constantly, I'll keep mentioning this, he holds each and every one of you in high esteem. Otherwise, you wouldn't be coming to the Majlis of Imam Hussain. You know, when you're in your most difficult time, you remember your family, you remember God. Who did Imam Hussain remember? I know it's part of the Masa'ib, but I'll mention this just to get the point across. On the Asr of Ashur, he comes to Imam Sajid. What does he say? In his wasiyah, "Oh my son Sajid, when you go back to Medina, tell my Shias." And he left it open. He didn't just say Shias of Medina. He left it open, as until Judgment Day. Tell my Shias, those who follow me, how I wish all of you were here in Karbala with me. So you could have seen when I took my baby to get him some water, but they did not give him no water. In his utmost masa'ib, who does he remember? People like you and me. Who are we and who are they? And they still remembered. And he goes further. He says, when you tell my Shias, tell them this: whenever you drink cold water, remember my thirst. So it's like Imam Hussain, before we've been born, he's took out his hand to us. He's made the nisbah between us and him already. It's our chance now to do our half so we can shake his hand and never let it go, inshallah. I wanted to go on now on 3 simple points in light of the 4 types of your soul. Batiya, the vegetative soul that helps you grow, develop, helps you process your taste, smell, look, hear. You use this to progress in life. 3rd type is nafsul, what? Intellect, aqliya, helps you to decipher things, understand things, things now make sense. And last but not least is nafsul luhiya, where your contentment comes after Allah's contentment. Like in the month of Ramadan, why do you fast for 17, 18 hours a day? For God's pleasure. You don't do it for the 6-pack or to lose weight, even though that's part of the benefit, okay? You do it for God first and foremost, right? What is contentment? And so we take this forward now, where Imam Hussain gives us some examples in his beautiful Dua Arafah. And do you know what the beauty of Arafah is in and of itself? When you go to Hajj, what do you do first? You book your ticket, you book your group. Nowadays there's this new booking system. May Allah help us all. You go there, and what do you do when you get there? You have to go to the miqat. The miqat is this point where from that point onwards, you can only enter the holy city in your ihram. You know the 2 white cloths which you wear, one on your shoulders, one below the waist. That's all you can wear. No possessions, no perfume. Up to 18 plus things become haram on you. Once you put on the ihram, and until you do the tawaf and nisa, if you're married, you can't be with your wife. You can't look in the mirror and beautify yourself. You can't wear anything which is of possession. Simple. State of ihram. Why? God's removed you from the world. It's not a punishment. We're so chained by in this world, like for example, you go somewhere, what's the first thing you ask for? Assalamu alaikum. Is there Wi-Fi? Why? I'm disconnected from the world. I need to see what's happening on the news, my Instagram, my Facebook. We're so entrenched with the world. God says, I have a solution for this. I've made Hajj wajib. You have to come if you have money. And when you get there, you wear your ihram. You're detached from the world, physically and spiritually speaking. And then you do all of these prohibitions you stay away from, but you do all of these a'mal. You do the tawaf, you go to sa'i between Safa and Marwa, you go to Muzdalifah, you stone the shaitan, Rami Jamarat, you go to Arafah. The most important thing of Hajj is what? Arafah. You have to stay there from the morning till the night. And they say when you leave that land, it's like you are a newborn baby. All of your sins are forgiven. If you doubt, maybe I was not forgiven, that's a sin in and of itself. That's how holy Arafah is. Why did I mention this? Imam Hussain has a dua called Dua Arafah. But there's this fine line here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on the day of Arafah, where the Hajis have gone to Hajj, they've put on this ihram, they've gone through so many difficulties and efforts to please God. God says, I look to the zawar of Hussain first, and then towards Arafah. Why? Because if it was not for Hussain and Hussein's sacrifice, there would be no Arafah. There would be no Hajj. So God honors Hussain and his visitors first. Not because of the visitors, because of who you are near. 20,000 years before the land of Makkah was made, the land of Karbala was designated. For whom? Because of the blood of Hussein. If by crying for Hussein, you can receive such spiritual benefits. We mentioned a few nights ago the story of the brother who would always wipe his tears into his face. And when they tried to burn his face with acid, it wouldn't do nothing. Why? Because he was always wiping the tears into his face. If just by remembering Hussein, your body can receive that specialty, imagine how special the blood of Hussein is when he dropped onto that land and it became khak al-shifa. So Imam Hussein in his beautiful dua Arafah, mentions the story of Prophet Yusuf. We looked at this yesterday. We won't go into it much depth today, where he had 11 brothers. Imam Hussein says, "Oh Allah," putting his trust into Allah, "you were the one, not anyone else. Allah, you inspired the caravan who was passing by to save Yusuf from the well." As you know, the brothers of Yusuf got jealous of him and they threw him into the well. But Imam Hussein says, Allah inspired the caravan to go save him. And it goes further. And Imam Hussein is trying to show us this. People plan, God plans. If you are with God, know this. God is the best of planners. Wallahu khairu makireen. He is the best of planners. Why? Because He knows what each and every one of us has in our hearts. On the face of it, Bismillah. Sara kompar, as we say in Urdu. You are such a nice man. Behind his back, that man is such a lunatic. He's this, is that. God knows this. And so we find where, like with Google Maps, when you're going to, or maps on your iPhone, and you miss your turning, it reroutes the map for you, doesn't it? I was meant to take a right, I took a left. The map will update and tell me, go take the next left, go back to the junction, you're back on the A406. But it says to you something else. Your time has increased. You were meant to get there in 20 minutes. Now it's 40 minutes. I'm helping you, but I can't cut the time out. That's your fault. That's the effect of your mistake. God says, if you come to me and change your direction towards me, I'm not like Google Maps. Not that it's a bad thing. But I'm not like that. You won't lose time with me. In fact, I will help you get there quicker. When you look at the story of Prophet Yusuf, let's say he was 10 years old. For argument's sake, he's 10 years old, he's been thrown into the well. He meets Prophet Yaqub over 30 years later. Did that happen overnight? No. We tend to look at the story of Nabi Yusuf and we're like, mashallah, he had sabr, Zulayka tried to tempt him, and then later he became the vizier. His brothers and everyone had to bow. Those brothers who threw him into the well now are in front of him like this. It didn't happen overnight. It takes pain, it takes time. But Imam Hussein is trying to show, with the example of Prophet Yusuf in Dua Arafah, that, oh Allah, it's dependent on you. You can change the hearts of people. Those people who hated Prophet Yusuf ended up doing what? Showing him further respect. But it takes time. But it's like God is trying to propel further. When you go through difficulties in life, they're there for a reason. Sometimes we have this notion, it's more cultural than anything else, that if I'm going through hardship, that person must have done a big sin. That's why he's going through this. Prophet Ayyub alayhi salam, when the trial got even harder on him, his sons died, his land got taken away. They say ants used to walk on his skin. He had a skin disease. And when the ants would fall down, he would his skin and say, this is the trial from God, and I am of the Sabireen. People said, what? Nabi Yusuf might have done a sin. That's why he's going through such problems. No. What did Imam Hussein go through? Na'uzubillah, is it because Imam Hussein did a sin, which is why he went through such musibah? No. When God wants to elevate you, He'll put you through tests. Because that's what helps your soul develop. Your body needs food as well. It comes with sabr. If you don't practice sabr, then God says, I love you so much, let me help you push you towards that way. If you've forgotten about me, I'll put you through financial difficulties or so on, so you can come back and know that it's from me. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We shouldn't just read this at a funeral when we hear someone's died. It should be our mantra, our slogan every morning. I'm from God and I'll return back to Him. Inshallah, in the next few nights we'll discuss what this really means. Returning back to God, how we can do this right now. Inshallah, in the next few nights. Second example, the magicians in Prophet Musa's time. Now Prophet Musa, he's known as being an aggressive, like a very strong man. As you know with the Banu Israel, when they got into a fight and they were doing zulm, simply punched the man. The man died. and the daughters of Prophet Shuaib, who he married, said, I saw Nabi Musa, when he would go there, it was like a feather. He was picking it up easily with one hand, filling it up, picking it up easily, filling it up. Nabi Musa was speaking prophet intellectually, and he's also what? Kalimullah, ulul azm. But when he was told, and this is the key thing we find from Dua Arafah, he was told, Ya Musa, go back to Fir'aun and preach to him. What did he say? I can't go alone. Why? It's a darbar. It's the palace of Fir'aun. For the kids who might not understand, the palaces back then were very, very hostile. If you walk through the gates, you may not walk out again alive. And this was Fir'aun, who killed up to 1,000 babies, just to make sure that he wouldn't be a top rule man. But God says to him, when you go back to Fir'aun, speak to him gently, because he was like your father. You grew up in his house, he adopted you. So speak to him with respect. Even though he's saying, I am God, speak to him with respect. What did Nabi Musa say? Send my brother Harun with me, because I know what happens in those areas. I need support. In the sidelines here. It's not the night, but I'll mention it again. Imagine what Lady Zainab went through. This is why Imam Sajid cried blood. I had to see my aunts, my sisters go through these darbars, which even a prophet like Nabi Musa needed someone to support him. Imam Sajid said we had no support. We had to see things with our own eyes. Nabi Musa goes there, and the Quranic ayah mentions, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً Musa. We felt, Nabi Musa didn't say nothing. We felt in the heart or in the soul of Musa, in his body, he had a little bit of fear. He walked in with Harun. He had 2 miracles with him. The first miracle, throw down your staff, it will become a snake. The other miracle, put your hand into your top pocket, take it out, and it will be a white hand. As a miracle, a light will come out your hand. Exegetes of the Quran, those who do tafsir of the Quran, have mentioned the fact that his hand going white was a miracle is this. It could mean Nabi Musa was not like how you see Jesus in the photos, white and everything. His complexion would have been dark, which is why the white hand would have been a miracle. So he had 2 miracles. قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. Don't be scared. We said to Musa, don't be scared. You are of the high. We're with you. What's in your right hand? Throw it down. He threw down his staff. It became a real snake. So for context, when he went to the darbar, Pharaoh called his most expert magicians who threw ropes, but they did a spell, so to speak, which was so severe that Nabi Musa thought he was seeing snakes walking around. So God said, now we're with you. It's your chance. We'll help you. Throw down your staff, and it became a massive serpent. And he began eating all of the snakes. Those 2 magicians Imam Hussein alayhi salam mentions, you guided them. They later did what? They did tawbah, and they became of those who were forgiven. What does this tell us? Imam Hussein is highlighting, it's never too late. Those 2 magicians came with the niyyah of what? To kill or to hurt an ulul azm prophet. But through the wasila of Allah and His mercy, what happened to them? They became of those forgiven. Even though Pharaoh said, I'm going to cut off your hands and your feet and crucify you, they said, we don't care anymore. This, what we've seen, is not sorcery. It's a miracle from God. We have the basira to recognize it. We now turn to God. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We've now turned to Him. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a night like this to allow us to also turn towards God, inshallah, in all of our actions and our a'mal. And I finish with this point. If we can do this, we have what is known as the tayyibat characteristics, the pure, the holy, the humanly characteristics. And we are away from the khabithat, the animalistic desires which chain you to the world. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll carry on with this notion and show you how this life is not merely just a life of physicality and matter. You as human beings have the potential to reach that divine soul position. Which is why Lady Zainab, what did she say? Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. Any other lady in that position would have said what? She would have died of her grief. Lady Zainab says, no, I saw nothing but beauty in Karbala. These men used their free will to run towards the haqq. That's the beauty I saw. And he goes further. Some ulama say, Bibi Zainab said what? Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. Not illa jamala. She should have said, if you translate it into English, I saw nothing but beauty. It should have been ma ra'aytu illa jamala. I saw nothing except for beauty. She said jamila. They say the other translation of this could mean, I saw nothing but God on Ashura. Why? Because these champions who had took their soul to that highest level went out for Tawheed. And we finish tonight by mentioning another champion who is the only companion of Imam Hussein who he wrote a letter to. His best friend. No one except for Habib ibn Madahir. Inshallah, when you all visit Karbala, you will see he has his own shrine. Just him alone. Because of his maqam. Shaykh al-Ansar. And if you look through the Dhari, you will see it says, Oh Habib, it has a part of Imam Hussein's letter. Oh Habib, you are the person, Imam Ma'soom, Imam Hussein is saying this. You are the person who every night, not one, not two, not in a month, every single night, you used to finish the Quran. You are Shaykh al-Ansar. And Ma'soom is saying this about a non-Ma'soom. Imagine his high position. Today, the day of Ashura, Umar Asad is coming into Karbala, 50,000 men, 60,000 men, these big, big battalions and so on. Bibi Zainab looked to Imam Hussein. She said, is there no one you can call for help? She had tears in her eyes. Is there no one you can help? Who's going to help you? Are you all alone? Imam Hussein said, my sister, don't worry about the numbers. We are on the haqq. I have a friend who will help me. He wrote a letter to Habib. When Habib received this letter, he began to cry. Why? Normally in the letter, Imam Hussein would say, from Hussein, son of Ali. In this letter, he wrote, from Hussein, son of Fatima. Habib said, something's not right today. This means my master is in trouble. I need to help him. He got to Karbala. When he got to Karbala, Zainab sends you her salam, that you've picking up the khak of Karbala, placing it into his hair, and said, what a time has come upon the daughters of Rasulullah, that they are giving salam to someone like me. But I finish with this. Habib fought very bravely until when his head was severed. But this head was taken from Karbala to Kufa to Sham. In Kufa, the son of Habib, when he saw his father's head, went up to the man and said, could you please give me my father's head? I've missed him for many days. I have not seen him. I can see the bruises upon his face. I would say, oh Habib, my heart says your head would have been crying for another head. Why? You know, in the bazaar of Kufa, when the heads would fall down, they wouldn't just pick up the heads and put it back on the spear. They used to kick the heads in the bazaar. They used to roll the heads into the stones and then pick it up and put it up as they were laughing. Bibi Sakina is also in this bazaar, but she can't see the head of her father. Why? The ulama say, because she was hit so many times on her eyes and cheeks, her eyesight was affected. When the face of the yatima is small and the hand of the zalim is big, he may try to hit you on your cheek. It might hurt your eye sometimes because of the size of your face. Bibi Sakina's eyes and her cheeks were both swollen. She is walking in this bazaar with a rope in her neck. Habiba comes to her and says, oh Yatima, you look very thirsty to me. Here, have some water. Once you've drinking this water, I have some hajats. Bibi Zainab was listening. She said, oh Sakina, don't drink this water yet. Habiba, what's your hajat? She said, ask this yatima to pray for my children. May my children never become yatim like how she is a yatim. Bibi Sakina raised her bruised hands. She said, oh Allah, like how I am a yatima, don't make her children yatim. Bibi Zainab said, Habiba, what's your second wish? She said, tell this yatima to pray for my master Hussein. Zainab heard the name Hussein. She held back her tears. She said, who is Hussein to you? She said, Hussein is my everything. I used to work in his house as a servant. Bibi Zainab said, do you know her sister Zainab? Habiba said, oh lady, speak quietly. Don't mention this name. This is a bazaar. Don't mention Zainab's name here. Of course I know her. Bibi Zainab said, if you could see her, would you recognize her? She said, of course I can recognize her. Bibi Zainab showed her her face. She said, oh Habiba, it's me Zainab, but you don't recognize me today. I've seen so much in Karbala. This yatima is your Hussein's daughter. There on that spear is your Hussein's head. That is the head of Qasim. That's